Hey ho, let's go indeed. How's it going, Mr. Clam? Hello, everybody. It is me, Comic Crack. Nice to see you all. No chat today. We had a work Christmas party at a roller rink. I didn't fall. I didn't break my neck. It was actually a pretty damn good time. Um, just jump right into it, I guess. I was watching Minutia Minute's latest video on shoot, what the heck was the name of it now? Movie from Vinegar Syndrome, anyway. And it got me thinking. I'd made a comment on his video about Vinegar Syndrome is one of the places that in 2017 they had a triple. What am I talking about? A triple DVD set of trailers for dirt cheap. I don't know how much it is now. It was dirt cheap though at the time. I love trailer collections. They're some of my favorite things to kind of grab. They're often pretty cheap, and you get a whole bunch of hey Ragamuffin, how you doing? You get a whole bunch of great stuff. So this one also came with a nice thick booklet, like a catalog. So just kind of each of the titles and a couple of stills. A very, very basic kind of description. Vinegar Syndrome has a lot of kind of adult films as well too, but they do run the gamut. I think one of the discs is just kind of their adult stuff. One of the discs is just kind of their sleazy exploitation type movies and stuff. So this is a great one. I think you can still scoop it up. I think he said that it was still available on their website. So I thought to start out, we'd just look at a couple of other trailer collections that I've grabbed over the years that have always been, that are just kind of enjoyable. So Something Weird Video is a company that I've been a big fan of for a long time too. And they had this amazing sampler of a bunch of trailers from 2002 is when this one came out. I don't know how many trailers are on here, but there's kind of the list of everything. Something Weird, just a fantastic company. Still, you can still find their stuff around. Also came with an Image Entertainment catalog as well too. You can still find their stuff around. I still see them used. I'm pretty sure they've still got a website going, but Something Weird always has some gems in there. There was a couple of trailers. I'm a big spaghetti western fan, and this was from rare-dvd.com. Previews to Kill, and then I think their second one was for a few previews more, and same, just a small amount of spaghetti western trailers. I think this was not kind of an official DVD company. I think it might have been more along the pirated DVD kind of line. Sorry about that, hitting the microphone there. Luminous Film and Video Works. So a little bit of extra stuff in there as well too. So a couple of stills and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, the trailer collections are often a really good way to, especially with some of these smaller boutique labels, it's a really good way to kind of decide what you want to pick up from them, right? Especially something like Vinegar Syndrome. It's really great to kind of get that sampling. And honestly, sometimes the trailers are 10 times better than the actual movies themselves. So they're always pretty fun. And then I guess the most infamous kind of trailer collection is 42nd Street Forever. And these are just phenomenal. It's a really, really good series. Synapse Video. So volume 1, and again, just shows the trailers on the back there. These are an absolute blast. So good. Volume 2, The Deuce, Sex, Monsters, Madmen, and Machines. Another dose of classic coming attraction. So about 120 minutes, 2006, this one. And as this series kind of went on, here's the third volume, Exploitation Explosion, from 2008. This was a really good one as well. This Alamo Drafthouse, and I think with this one, I think there was a yeah, there's an audio commentary with Alamo owner Tim League and programmers Lars Nilsson and Zach Carlson. So you get a little bit of commentary for each of the trailers, and they kind of give you these little nuggets about either the making of the movie or the movie itself. So that's really fun as well. So this is 99 minutes from 2009. They had one that was just X-rated videos. No special features on this one. 130 minutes from 2007, and then finally, this final one is the one to find. 42nd Street Forever, the Blu-ray one. This is the one to get. It's 225 minutes. There's a commentary track again on this one. AVManiacs.com, Edwin Samuelson, and then Fangoria Magazine's Michael Gingold, and Temple of Schlocks, Chris Poggiali. This is the one. I'm sure you can still find this one. This is 2012. I'm sure this is out there. Highly recommended. The commentary tracks are so great on these to get kind of their take on these movies and a little bit of that insider thing. So there's our movie chat for this week. The other thing that I watched last night with my son was I Stand Alone, Gaspar Noé's first feature-length film. I haven't seen it for a long time. I had this pirated copy that I'd done trades with people way back when. And he watched a movie, Climax by Gaspar, and really enjoyed it. So we decided to dig into it. I kind of forewarned him about some of the stuff. This one particularly, Gaspar doesn't have the most positive outlook at times in some of his movies. And I really warned him if he's going to be watching some of the other movies. I really kind of gave him a huge heads up about Irreversible. I don't know if anybody's seen Irreversible, but that movie will scar you good and proper, as it's intended to be. But he definitely has a way, an outlook, especially at this time. I think he's kind of changed over the years, kind of softened a little bit, but man, it's a grim movie. It was really great to see, though. It kind of takes you through this journey pretty well, and in probably the last 15 minutes he takes you through so much, so many emotions. There's this beat for like 30 seconds where I felt the relief. I felt my entire body relax, and I hadn't really noticed it up to that point, that I was very tense through the whole thing. And you kind of you feel for this character, but then it kind of, as it keeps going, you're back to just really hating this guy. You know what I mean? So it's a hell of a movie. Really amazing camera work, really great use of narration, which is something that very, very rarely works. I think it works very well in this. He's that type of director where he kind of has not quite a gimmick, but he has something that he'll kind of frame his movies a certain way, whether that's limiting himself to a couple of shots, like in Enter the Void. I think there's 3 different POVs in that one over the shoulder, one where you're the character, and one that's floating above people. So he'll kind of play around with the format of movies. So this one was really about that narration, which apparently he wrote after the movie was finished. He just got real shit-faced and wanted to get in the head of the main character and just wrote this entire narration. And it's to pretty damn good effect. So there's the movie chat for this week. I read a fair bit this week, so let's just dive into what I grabbed. I was able to find Human Target, issue number 1. Yeah, the one floating above was the one. Amazing. Yeah, and it's Enter the Void is such a great movie. Even the opening credits, the how he utilizes that opening credit scene and the text and everything. We actually watched just that intro, just the credit sequence from Enter the Void after we watched this I Stand Alone, just to give him a little more of like a feel of he's a very singular kind of director and artist, right? Like he really has He's really goddamn French, even though he's not originally French. It's his movies have that feel to them. There's very distinct voice comes through in his movies for sure. So it was good to rewatch those credits. Red River Bookshop had one on the shelves. I haven't been able to find this anywhere. So I'm really glad that I found this because motherfucker, as everybody has been talking about, this is an absolutely gorgeous movie. Sorry, phone's buzzing in my pocket here. This is an amazing, amazing book. Smallwood on the art. He did a thread. Smallwood did a thread recently on Twitter where he talked about kind of where his style came from and where this specifically for this book. And he talks about his kind of progression as an artist. And I guess he talks about the work that he did in Marvel, which we've talked about before, that Nick Fury story, the one that really jumped out from me from that one issue. And he says that that was kind of the first time he really explored this specific type of style. He was given from Alex Ross is the name that I'm trying to remember. Alex Ross really wanted him to play with the colors. Apparently that was the direction that he was given, really make these neonish type of colors, like really don't hold back on your color palette. I love this page, by the way, breaking down each of the days. And I did double check in day 2, which is issue 2, and it's not exactly framed this way, but that dialogue does happen. So it's great to get that little hint of what's to come and how that's all going to play into the book. But I love this. I think the story is pretty great. But I mean, again, it's one of those things where I'm here for the art, and this art is phenomenal. So I guess I was really surprised at how recent this particular style is for Smallwood. Not that he didn't have those touches before, but he does admit that he was going more for in the past he was going more for like a Darwin Cook, Bruce Timm type of thing. But I feel like he's kind of surpassed that and really found his own style. Yeah, the shadows on the characters, like stuff like this, I think is just gorgeous. Yeah, there was a crack in there. Hey, yeah. Really, really nice stuff. So I'm really looking forward to carrying on with this one. Totally loving it, and I'm so glad that I found issue number 1. Issue number 2, this cover is beautiful. I'm really digging that style. What's that artist who's doing some variants where he does those negative variants? But stuff like this is really nice too. And this is where I can see kind of the Darwin Cook use of color, like in the Parker series and things like that, where it feels like it has that very blocky, like you're almost cutting out the acetates and overlaying them and not really too worried. I can see even like, you know, more like a rectangular shaped color over there as opposed to even kind of following the lines of the figure. It just kind of has that feel to it, you know, that idea. But his use of like the shadows and how the lighting cuts in on people in the scene. Not always necessarily motivated, although that one pretty motivated by that umbrella in the first panel. Even though there's still an extra kind of this diagonal line that's coming down here. Interesting. Yeah, either way. I'm on board. I'm really digging it. So glad I found that issue. I really thought it was going to be one that I just missed the boat on and that I would have to resort to getting it online. But thankfully, that's not the case. Excuse me while I fight with my new bagging. So that's that. Today, after the party, we stopped by Thirsty's Flea Market, which is just down the road from me. And I always check. This one guy has some really good bins of stuff, and he had a 50% off sale. So I think this cost me $4. But the Aquaman number 51 that I'm looking for. So I was looking for 50, 51, and 52 because they have the Dead Man backup story in it. This one is beat to hell, but really happy to find it for $4. So I read it when we got home. I honestly, I think it was just more that I wasn't necessarily in the mood to be reading. I was just really curious to kind of see how it went. Just more to kind of see the art as I find my words. So this is Steve Skeets on script, Jim Aparo doing art, and Dick Giordano editor. And on the cover, Cardy, and so Nick Cardy on the cover as well too. Oh yeah, and that's what you said. Sorry, Scott. Yes, that's exactly what you said. Nick Cardy. 100% correct. And then, so again, not too much else to say other than I'm still digging this imagery in the Aquaman. I can't really make heads or tails of it, the story-wise, but I'm just not that invested in it. And like I said, I just wasn't 100% in the mood to really sit and absorb everything. I just wanted to get to the second half with our Dead Man by Mr. Neil Adams. And this one was still a lot of fun, a little disjointed from the first one, seemed to kind of meander a little bit as he's kind of in this other dimension now. And that creature who had hypnotized him in our previous episode, that's how she can appear in our reality. So she is actually this woman here, and she's been held prisoner. And the only way to kind of turn back to be able to communicate with him was to kind of ride him back to her dimension is how they put it in there. So still some good panels in here. I'm digging this as they start to get hypnotized by these crab creatures. So fun stuff. And again, it's nice to find some Dead Man stuff, especially early Dead Man stuff that I'm not familiar with, instead of yet another reprint or a sort of guest appearance as part of a team or something like that. It's nice to have a standalone Dead Man. These pages are pretty nice too. Yeah, this cover is detached, so trying to hold it together. I may eventually look for an upgrade, but for now the $4 was well spent just to kind of get the issue and check it out. The other thing that they had there was another of the Mr. X Secrets of Haunted House for a couple of bucks. So that brings me one more closer. So that was fun. When I was watching everybody's favorite Tales from the Flip Side, they were doing their top 10 books, and one of the books that they reminded me about, and I remember having one of these issues. I looked in my drawers, and it turns out I traded it away or sold it or something. They reminded me of this Genndy Tartakovsky Cage series, this mini-series, 4-issue mini-series, because they highlighted this Bruce Timm variant cover for issue number 2. And it's really just phenomenal. Fantastic. Speaking of exploitation movies, there's your exploitation movie poster right there on issue number 2. So I went hunting, Red River Bookshop by the office, had 2 of the issues, and then Galaxy when I had stopped in for my pull list. I checked out some of their back issue bins, and they had this and issue number 1. So I was able to snatch up the entire 4-issue series. And man, oh man, is this a fun book, especially this issue number 2. Tartakovsky from Samurai Jack fame. A lot of Samurai Jack-ness to his version of Luke Cage. In some of the poses, especially, and some of the just comical passages and panels here and pages. Really, really fun miniseries. A lot of fun. And honestly, it's more for the kind of animated quality of the characters as opposed to the story itself. Just it's wild. So Bruce Timm just did that one cover though, Scott. It's Gendy all the way throughout. Not him inking though. Let's do it properly here. So Gendy Tartakovsky, writer and penciler, and then inker Stefan DiStefano, colorist Bill Ray with Gendy Tartakovsky, and then letterers VC's Clayton Cowles. Yeah, and then like I said, the Bruce Timm. But let's get to when it really gets wild. Yeah, this was a nice page too. This was very Samurai Jack looking. Just in kind of like the body posture and stuff. And I love Tartakovsky. I love Samurai Jack. I think it's one of the best cartoons for your money, you know. And we've talked about Primal here before. Primal is fucking phenomenal. And I cannot wait for the second season of Primal because I've never seen anything like that. It's just incredible. The guy's got a talent. There's no doubt. In the early Samurai Jack DVD sets, there's some really great behind the scenes stuff where they do kind of commentaries and they also talk to the background artist and he shows some of his process. But they have these kind of round tables with the Gendy and some of the other animators and just talking about the process and everything and making the episodes. And it's really, really insightful. So he kind of gets, Wizard of Oz kind of drugged as he enters this particular field. So Gendy just goes to town with these full pages as he's kind of drifting off. And these two are just fucking killer. Like, look at this here. Just really giving her. This is a fantastic page here too. And then we get one more here as he's kind of getting drawn out of his haze, drug-induced haze. And we even get some Wizard of Oz there. And then finally, when we meet kind of the big bad of this issue, there we go. He gives us his very own Basil fucking Wolverton homage there to our character, who ends up in the next issue doesn't look like this at all. But again, just kind of playing with that drug haze and everything to kind of give us this beautiful image here. So this is a really, really fun miniseries. I wouldn't hesitate to grab it. I don't know if you can pick it up too cheap. There's issue number 3, but honestly, keep your eyes open for it and give this one a shot because it's an absolute blast. And then the final issue there, issue number 4, getting literally punched out of his own book, which is great as well too. So yeah, 4-issue miniseries from Marvel and 2016. So not incredibly old, but not last week or anything either. So there's that. The final one, did we talk about this? I may have mentioned it and we didn't talk about it any further before we get into kind of the graphic novels. This is, what the fuck is it called again? The Rush. So about the gold rush and these kind of this monster that lurks. Beautiful, beautiful art in this. Let's get the credits again here. So Cy Spurrier is a writer on this. Nathan Gooden is the artist, and then Addison Duke is the colorist. I love the texture on this, digital as it may be. I love kind of the texture to the page and to the panels and everything, creating this extra layer. The story is okay so far, I guess. I couldn't really tell you much about it. I did read it and I was invested as I was reading it, but again, it's one of those books where it's the art that's going to bring me back for issue number 2. I think issue number 2 is out already. I may have to give this one a reread, honestly, because I really can't remember anything about this. I think there's some rich guy's daughter, and she's going to kind of scope out her claim. Yeah, see, I really don't fucking remember. So that tells you a lot right there. But I kind of like the setting of it. And let's see if we can get something here. Yeah, we get some nice stuff in the snow, which looks kind of this turquoisey color as well, too. And then there's this, yeah, exactly. Story. There's a writer for these things. Someone wrote this. So yeah, I'm gonna be back for number 2, but I absolutely need to reread this one. And this is sort of our kind of, we don't really know. This guy in a top hat who at some points looks like he has spider type legs, but then there's a wide shot here where he has a spider kind of creature that's with him. Earlier on, it looked like maybe he was this spider type creature, but that's a nice, and that's right on the back cover as well too. So no nothing backing it up, no ads at the back here. Was there ads throughout any of it? There must have been, right? Let's have a look. Well, what do you know about that? Ad free, my friends. So Vault Comics, issue number 1, ad free. Credits on the inside front cover, art all the way back to the inside back cover. So there you go. That's pretty good. Just notice that right now. I'll take that, and then a brief kind of write-up on the back here. It looks much easier to read in person than it does looking on the screen there. So yeah. And then just finally tonight, we'll talk about these last 3. So I'm not quite finished this, but I'm pretty fucking close. I don't know if I had mentioned, I did pick up the Harrow County first omnibus. I found it at the bookstore. I found it at the bookstore a couple of weeks ago at this point. I think I'm about... What did I just read? I just read issue number 13. So, and what is there? 15 issues. There's 16 issues in here. So, a few more issues to go here. Man, I'm really glad that I picked this up. There's 2 issues where it's a different artist, and they don't interest me whatsoever. The story is fantastic in here. It's really, really great. But I'm telling you, man, the art by Tyler Crook, just absolutely gorgeous. His watercolor, and every single issue opens up. Let's find an example here. Stand by. Each issue opens up with kind of a nice 2-page splash, and then gives his kind of Will Eisner effect of having the title appear somewhere in the panel itself. Not really standing out, but kind of blending into the pages themselves. But this art is just fucking gorgeous. I love every single page on this. Yeah, and the story is just really strong. We're really getting more of details about the world. We're getting more details about her friend here, who they kind of separated for a bit, and now they're kind of really back to becoming pretty tight. She's also getting sort of trained, I guess, by another woman that's considered a witch in the area. And then we're getting some more history about our main character, Emmy, and the spirit, the witch that she's kind of reborn as. This issue where she kind of finds her, or her sister finds her, was really great as well too. Just getting that duality was really nice. And then these first ones I had read already. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm 100% on board with this one. This is Dark Horse Comics, and I don't want to look too further from where I am, because I don't want to spoil anything for myself. But yeah, I mean, if you don't know it, and I think there's probably a bunch of you, I'm probably the one that is that's late on the game for Harrow County. I know that this one had a lot of people raving about it. I think even Rasa and Damien were talking about it in the past. I know Rasa was in the past. Pretty sure Damien was as well. Oddfellows Thoughts, a couple of those guys were talking about stuff too. So I know that I'm late to this, but I'm glad that I'm picking it up. And I think I'm going to stick with these omnibus size. They had one of the hardcovers there. The price difference, considering what you got, these ones were just more affordable. I didn't really see much need to get the hardcover one, to be honest. And then maybe we'll end with that one. So the last two books here, this one I just finished before we kind of went live. So volume 1 of Torpedo, the complete Torpedo from IDW by Sanchez Abuli and mostly Jordi Bernay. The first two issues, or the first two stories rather, are Alex Toth. And apparently he left the book due to it being a little too dark. And as I was reading this, when I first started reading it, sitting downstairs and my son was reading as well, and at the end of a couple of stories, I just kind of would chuckle and holy shit, because some of these stories are just, they're really dark. I was a little surprised, honestly. I knew that this wasn't going to be kind of your basic hero. I knew that there was going to be some kind of darkness to this character, and it wasn't all going to be happy stories. But I was honestly a bit surprised at how far some of the stories go, a lot farther than I would have expected. I've only got one single issue of Torpedo, so I've never read this much. We'll just show you the Alex Toth. As much as I love Alex Toth stuff, I think the Jordi Bernay stuff works a lot better for this character. These first two stories were great. The writing is really, really good in here, like really good, especially as you kind of get further. It's almost that kind of Modesty Blaze type of daily strip where the more successful that it is, the more strips come out, the more they kind of give you these nuggets of the character and where they've come from. So that happens here as well too. There's two stories in here that kind of flash back to our main character Torpedo as a youngster fresh off the boat. Let's see if we can just find that story here. There's one. Yeah, so he's fresh off the boat and there's this cop and he's talking about his first job as a shoe shine boy. And it's a killer story. It's a really, really good one. But again, as dark as it is, and you can kind of see him become who he becomes. And there's some really great dialogue and stuff like, God, this cop he tells him that'll be 5 cents. And then the cop says, "What are you shitting me? Don't this badge mean nothing to you, you little, but I've got to eat." He said, Mr. McDonald, and chew on this. And he kicks him in the face. And then Torpedo is kind of thinking to himself, God bless America. Talk about your poor huddled masses starting a new life and all that crap. Guess I have to give McDonald some credit. He taught me how the world really works. So there's some really good stuff like that, which I absolutely love. But like I said, there was just some things. There's just some things where it goes darker than I thought it would. So all of that said, I really dug 90% of it. I would say the last couple of stories, though, they fell a little flat for me. So I'm a little hesitant to pick up volume 2. The shop that I got this one from, he had the first 3 volumes. But these last few stories, they just left me a little cold. It felt like, for the most part, there was this nice progression. You were getting these nice kind of gangster type of stories. But I don't know. I feel like that it could kind of lead into a one note kind of thing. I don't know that for a fact. I may still try the second volume anyway, just to give it a shot. But part of me wants to kind of stop on this one, to be honest. Yeah, Scott, I'd say give it a shot, man. Torpedo gets repetitive. There's no care. Oh, hey, there you go. But then why would there be? Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, that I can see that this is what he wants to do. This is the kind of story that he wants to tell. He wants to tell these kind of dark crime fiction type of stories. But Bernays' art is just gorgeous to look at. And I was wondering, let's see if I'm going to be able to find it. It only stood out to me a couple of times, but I was wondering if he was really manipulating photos at some points. So Torpedo standing on that sign there, that building and that sign, they seem to be really planted in reality with the caricature on top of it. So I was wondering, because there's a couple of other spots too, this railing here in this house, or this tenement or whatever, this apartment block, it's almost has that taken a photo and really fucked with it kind of quality, right? Or inked right over a photo. It sort of borders that line of photo reference and tracing to some degree. I don't know much about him as an artist, but it's a real good balance though, because it doesn't scream a photo reference or a manipulated photo, but it just has that. It's just off a little bit, because what he does do in the same story, actually, they go to see Frankenstein, and he just uses some stills to kind of give us the first 6 or 7 panels. I think it continues on the next page too. So yeah, I'd say recommended for sure. So volume 1. And then finally from Fantagraphics, I don't know, I think this might have been Colin Blanchett from yes, some tardy stuff in there for sure. Photorealistic backgrounds, cartoony in the foreground. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it was Colin Blanchett from Twitter. So there's a couple of guys that I follow on Twitter. I think they watch here as well too. And sorry if I've miscredited you on this one, but there's a couple of guys that I follow on there, and they have some really good stuff that they're reading, and a lot of stuff that I'm just not familiar with. So I've started kind of taking some of their recommendations and ordering. So this is the one that I just got. So this is Man in Furs from Fantagraphics. About, I'm going to butcher this name, Sacher Masoch from 1835 to 1895, wrote Venus in Furs amongst a whole bunch of other things. The Venus in Furs is what he is most well known for. And then, of course, the noun masochism, which was named after him. So it's a little, I don't feel sorry. Hilarious there, Scott. So this is a really good look at kind of parts of his life and how his kind of fantasy world crept into his real world, and one of his wives, and that kind of tumultuous relationship that they had, and what happened after she left him, and kind of how he changed throughout his life. And it's some beautiful illustration as well here. Every once in a while you get these full page illustrations that and the ink changes color there just for some of these. It's all black and white, but every once in a while you get stuff like this that I think is gorgeous. A real nice hardcover. It was really easy to read. It was a really fascinating story too. It was really well told. These kind of panelless, borderless panels rather, and just kind of giving you just the very basics about his life. Obviously, we're not talking 1,000-page autobiography here. We're just getting some of kind of highlights from different parts of his life. This was a harrowing scene here with his son who gets sick, and they send for now his ex-wife to come and sit with him. Yeah, so she ends up sitting with him, and that's kind of like the last thing. He ends up dying. So it's a really kind of touching moment there. But some of these panels are really nice too. I love these odd shaped kind of panels here with very minimal backgrounds and just line work to make up that border. Really nice. And then here we go, some more it's kind of dreams and fantasies and things like this. And he talks about, at one point, he talks about wishing that he had left his fantasies to the bedroom as opposed to putting them in. Here we go. I should have kept my fantasy in the bedroom rather than put it into my work. As he's kind of thinking about all the stuff that he's written that doesn't get any acknowledgement. And now he's going to go down in history as being the guy that masochism was named after, and how he just feels about that, and how his career has been defined by one thing, and how difficult that's been on him and his new wife and their new family. And it goes into kind of his childhood and things too. So really very, very recommended. Very, very recommended. This was a hell of a good read. I don't know anything. I should say the creators, actually. I'm so bad at that. Oh, Catherine Sova and Anne Simon are the creators here. Hello. Special guest appearance. Come on in. I was just finishing up. I'm just doing a little bit of a live video. Special guest appearance from Lillian. How you doing, Lil? Yeah, good. What did we do today? Where did we go today?
Oh, we went to Wheelies.
Yeah, which is what? Roller
skating.
Yeah, roller skating. And how was it? Did you like it? Yeah.
I fell more than 20 times.
Yeah, more than 20 times, yeah.
More than 30 times.
More than 30 times. You were counting that much?
No.
You're going to mess up my hair. What are you doing? I'm trying to look good for this video here. And you're going to mess up my glorious do.
Your head is so greasy.
Yo, thanks, babe. It's all the hot lights in here. Okay.
I wiped it on the table.
Don't wipe it on the table. You're funny.
So, you know the new person that you've been showing me and Mom?
Yeah, that singer from Iceland, yeah.
So I saw a new video.
Okay.
But like it's the same song, but they do it with violins and like
that's
him
neat.
with the guitar. So I'll show you.
Yeah, we'll have to see that. We've discovered some Eurovision song. This band from Iceland, one guy, Dadi or something. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name. There's so many accents over each of the letters. And super, super catchy kind of pop music. So we've kind of been addicted to that. And I'd love to see some more Eurovision stuff too. So we may start digging into that on YouTube. Right on. I'm just going to finish and then I'll come up, okay? Okay.
I'm going to massage Mom. So.
You're going to give Mom a massage? Okay, that's very nice of you. I'll see you very soon. I'll come upstairs in like 5 minutes.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Love you, sweetie.
Night-night.
I'll be there right away. So where was I? Yes, I talked about the creators on there. Man in First, that was the last one. A really damn good read. And I think that's about all that I read. I don't remember if I talked about these. They're sitting there still. Red Sonja numbers 1 and 2 haven't really struck me yet. They're okay. I'd say issue number 2 is better than issue number 1. It felt like there was it's Frank Thorne in issue number 2 as well, and feeling not quite Frank Thorne, feeling less thorny than usual, but still pretty good, still kind of his style. I felt like the stories were better in the second issue than they were in this first issue. These ones kind of played as like an RPG, sort of, then she went into this place and then she was attacked by this thing and then she did that, and just really not much else there. So I'm still looking forward to giving it a shot and reading some more of it, because I jump all the way to number 7, so I've got some gaps in this Marvel feature before I kind of get to that. And then the second series, this isn't the price, there's just a price tag on this. It's funny how we all say that kind of thing, right? We don't want you to know exactly how much we paid, but I guarantee you it wasn't $5.75. So number 2 from her kind of solo series. I don't have issue number 1 yet. So I'm looking forward to digging into some more of those. Still trying to fill in the gaps for the Cull, so I can kind of keep reading that. And I've taken a bit of a break from Action Comics Weekly, but it's all still sitting here on my table, ready to dive in and continue these stories, because I've got quite a stack of those to get through. So, and I've got some more things that I ordered from my comic shop that I'm hoping come sooner than later. Some more graphic novels, one from Drawn and Quarterly, and then a couple of other things too. I was watching Earl Grey's final kind of top 50, and he was talking about one that's been published here in English, the Geezers. So I was able to find volume 1 of the Geezers as well, and my comic guy is going to order that for me. I think that's from a Blaze, possibly. So I ordered 2 books from a Blaze, and we'll see how those go. Yeah, and I sold a slab today. So I sold Batman Adventures number 12. And I got a fucking boatload of goddamn money for it. $975 Canadian, which is fantastic. I also sold the haha Trump variant that I have for 125. So I've started kind of posting some of those on my eBay account, just to kind of start digging into that. So, just to try to get those going. And I figure I may as well get myself ready, build up a little bit of a selling history for when the trailers for some other stuff come out, especially that Thor, so I can slap that in there. Batman Adventures number 12 is the first Harley Quinn. It was a 9.0. So that was a good price for a 9.0. It kind of fluctuated right between kind of 970 to $1,000 ish. So yeah, someone made me an offer. I made a counter offer, and they snatched it up and paid like right away. So I shipped that out tomorrow. So that's been cool. And then that goes into the fund, the China fund. So we'll get that out of here. That's about it, everybody. Thanks very much for hanging out. Nice to see you all. Zesty, Scott, Ragamuffin. Who else was here? I think that was it today. Noah AFPC this week. Yeah, and now that's the only issue of that whole Batman Adventure series that I don't have either, because it's now gone. But whatever. Who cares? Give me the money. Take the damn book. Give me the cold, hard cash. Right on, everybody. So we'll see you. I don't know. We'll see you after Christmas, most likely. I doubt that anybody is going to be around on Sunday. So I hope you all have a good holiday, and yeah, enjoy time with your family. And we'll talk to you later, peeps.